Greetings from Kenwell. Today is Monday, May 3rd, 2021. Today I'm going to go right into my topic, which is dinosaurs in the Bible. Many of you may not be aware that there are indeed many references of dinosaurs in the Bible. And of course, the word dinosaur is never mentioned in the Bible, since the word dinosaur was only created in 1841 by Sir Richard Owen. And I'm sure that many of you know that the word dinosaur means terrible lizard. Well, in the Bible, dinosaurs are referred to as dragons. And in the Old Testament, there are numerous mentions of dragons. And in a short bit, I'm going to tell you two very specific dinosaurs that are mentioned in the Bible. So you may ask yourself, how is it possible for the Bible to mention about dinosaurs when the Bible is only thousands of years old? I am also sure that if I ask you, how long ago did dinosaurs roam on the earth, many of you would say, 200 million years ago, or at least most of you would say millions of years ago. But I am going to show you today from science that dinosaurs have only been around for thousands of years. I am sure that at this point, many of you are saying, yeah, right, Ken. Well, I am going to show you this short little video clip and then decide for yourself whether what I'm saying is true. This video clip is going to show you that one of the world's most famous paleontologists has used science. Using science has shown that dinosaurs have been around for only thousands of years. I am sure you're going to enjoy this.
One of the discoveries that has really rocked the evolutionary world was made by Dr. Mary Schweitzer and Dr. Jack Horner from analyzing the interior, the bone marrow, if you will, of the thigh bone or the femur of a T-Rex that was excavated back in 2003. Their report was published in the March-April 2005 edition of Science Magazine, a very prestigious, peer-reviewed science magazine. And they reported, and to my left are pictures, just a few pictures, there's many more that were actually in the magazine. They reported soft, stretchable, elastic, snap back like a rubber band tissue in that thigh bone. In addition, they reported finding red blood vessels that still had blood cells in them that were identifiable. And all of that would be impossible if this dinosaur died out 65 to 68 million years ago. Clearly, science has shown this dinosaur died out very recently.
When she picked up a small piece to stop the reaction by putting it in water, it stretched and it sproinged and it moved all over the place. So we knew we had something pretty unusual.
It appears to be soft tissue. When they look at neighboring parts of the bone, they're even more surprised.
Out popped the blood vessels, and they were pretty incredible. And I said, I don't believe it, that's not possible. We need to do it again and again. It's one of those just goosebump-inducing scientific moments, that's all I can say. And they don't really happen very often.
Blood vessels should not exist in fossilized bone. Many scientists believe organic molecules can't last more than 100,000 years. Yet Schweitzer's bone is 68 million years old.
Okay, now that you've seen the video, I want to stress that it is impossible for soft tissue and red blood cells to live for millions of years. Not only that, but carbon-14 has been discovered in dinosaur bones, which indicates that these bones are only thousands of years old. You will notice that in this video, she doesn't say that we have to rethink our timeline. Since evolutionists, they have to have millions and millions of years for their theory to work. But the science that she demonstrated is so straightforward these bones are only thousands of years old. Also, after this video was made, Mary Schweitzer found protein fragments in dinosaur bones. Think about it. Science emphatically tells us that these bones are only thousands of years old. When Schweitzer's data became public, she said, and I quote, "I had one reviewer tell me he didn't care what the data said. He knew what I was finding wasn't possible." She wrote back to him and said, "Well, what data would convince you?" And he said, "None." Once again, it reminds me of what was said in the movie A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth!
We are being brainwashed into believing in millions and millions of years, but science is showing us more and more that we need to think in thousands of years. Also, since Schweitzer's discovery, there have been thousands of researchers all over the world that have also found soft tissue and red blood cells in dinosaur bones. That is really quite incredible. Before I go back to the two very specific examples of dinosaurs in the Bible, I want you to look at some very interesting pictures. This first one is of a mosaic showing the Nile River in the background from the year 100 BC. Any child will tell you that that is a dinosaur. The second picture is from the Ta Prohm Temple in Cambodia. This temple is 800 years old. There is not a person out there who will immediately say, this is a stegosaurus. It is just that obvious. And remember, the picture carving this, they had to have seen it. This next picture is from the Carlisle Cathedral in northern England. In the floor, there is a marble tomb of Bishop Bell, who died in the year 1496, basically a little over 500 years ago. Surrounding the tomb is one of the best surviving examples of medieval brasswork. When you look at this picture, it is obvious. It is a picture of two sauropod dinosaurs. You know, this picture is absolutely incredible. Look at how these sauropod dinosaurs, they have their neck and tails roughly horizontal. The interesting fact about that, it is only recently that paleontologists realized that sauropods looked like this. So these are perfect pictures of sauropod dinosaurs that were created by pitchers who lived just over 500 years ago. This next picture is from the ancient pharaoh Narmer in 3100 BC. You know, when you look at the picture, it is a little exaggerated with the feet and tail of a cat, but the rest of it sure looks like a sauropod dinosaur. How else would they superimpose two different animals unless the dinosaur part really existed? All throughout history, there are thousands of images of dinosaurs from every civilization in the world. There are so many of them that one cannot dismiss them. All these pictures were made hundreds of years before the word dinosaurs even existed. You can see these pictures in China, Africa, Europe, Asia, North and South America. Continuing, I like what this guy Louis Jacobs said. Louis, he was the head of the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. And this is what he said in regards to associating dragons with dinosaurs. Such an association would dispel an earth with vast antiquity. The entire history of creation, including the day of rest, could be accommodated in the seven biblical days of the Genesis myth. I like how he says myth. Evolution would be vanquished. But that is exactly what is happening. The scientific evidence and the historical evidence is overwhelmingly shown that dinosaurs and man lived at the same time. I like to say it is really true, the Flintstones did indeed get it right. If dinosaurs lived recently, that blows the evolutionary timeline out of the water, as it totally destroys the entire field of evolution. Next, look at this picture of the Chinese calendar. As everyone knows, the Chinese calendar consists of animals for each month, and all of these animals exist. But look at one of these animals. It is a dragon. Why would they have put in a dragon unless it was an existing animal at the time the calendar was created? So now, I want to tell you about two dinosaurs from the Bible. The first dinosaur of the Bible is mentioned in Job chapter 40, and it is called Behemoth. Here is a description of Behemoth. Look now at the behemoth, which I made along with you. He eats grass like an ox. See now, his strength is in his hips, and his power is in his stomach muscles. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are tightly knit. His bones are like beams of bronze. His ribs like bars of iron. He is the first of the ways of God. Only he who made him can bring near his sword. There have been many commentators who have said that Behemoth is an elephant. But look at the picture of the elephant. Does the elephant have a tail like a cedar tree? Definitely not. And then you get some commentators that say Behemoth was a hippopotamus. But look at the picture of the hippo. Once again, does the hippo have a tail like a cedar tree? Definitely not. The description in Job chapter 40 describes the greatest of God's creation. I'm quite convinced that this picture you see here is of a brachiosaurus. Brachiosaurus is the only creature that has a tail like a cedar tree. And you'll also hear there are some people out there that say that Behemoth is a mystical creature. But the problem with that is that in the preceding chapters of Job, God describes actual animals. And now in chapter 40, God is describing the largest creature he ever made. So yes, Behemoth did exist, and Behemoth is indeed a dinosaur. This leads now to the second great dinosaur in the Bible, and that description is found in Job chapter 41. It is of the Leviathan. Leviathan is clearly one of the fiercest creatures that God ever made. Look at what verse 8 says. Lay hands on him. Think of the battle. You will not do it again. I like to say this most likely means that if you decide to fight him, he is going to eat you. And then verses 27 to 29. He counts iron as straw and bronze as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. For him, sling stones are turned to stubble. Clubs are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rattle of javelins. You look at Leviathan is one creature to avoid. If I lived back in the days of Job, I would have avoided Leviathan just like I am avoiding the plague of today. So, what happened to the dinosaurs? Well, slowly but surely they became extinct through natural causes, and man eventually killed them off. I hope you enjoyed my talk today on dinosaurs. May the good Lord be with you until we meet again.